Hi guys, welcome to the screencast for tomorrow's lesson on regulation of heart rate via intrinsic control. So last week we looked at what kind of increases our heart rate during exercise, what are the reasons for them. We tried to look at neural control, intrinsic control and hormonal control, concentrating mainly on neural control. We're going to go into more detail about intrinsic control today. Hormonal control we looked at last week as well. So first of all, just a bit of a reminder, neural control, we were keen on three receptors and the role of these three receptors, i.e. what they detected themselves, where the message was sent, where the information was sent that what they're detecting, which nervous system and which nerve they stimulated, and how that stimulated the SA node. For example, this would be dependent on whether or not we're talking about exercise or recovery with regards to those three receptors. Now, hormonal control was all about the release of adrenaline and how the release of adrenaline increases the firing rate of the SA node. Now, as we know from the graphs that we saw, we get an anticipatory rise. This anticipatory rise is due to the release of adrenaline. And that's the hormonal control that we looked at. So the main thing about tomorrow's lesson is going to be intrinsic control and venous return. So that's what we're going to be looking at tomorrow's lesson and today's notes. First of all, what I want us to concentrate on. So for this slide here, you don't need to make notes right away. I'm just going to talk through venous return and what actually happens. So first of all, I'm not going to go through this diagram. As you can see, blood leaves the heart. Let's say this is the body. So oxygenated blood leaves the heart, goes to the body. Then once it's being used up, we have deoxygenated blood. This deoxygenated blood has to go back to the heart. This period here, this aspect here is venous return. It's that deoxygenated blood going back to the heart. So what happens during exercise? Well, we get an increase in venous return. So what is venous return? Venous return is the volume of blood that returns from the body to the heart. So as I've just said, during exercise, this increases. This increases, which means there's greater volume of blood going back to the right atrium, which means there's more blood filling this phase here, well, filling this chamber here, which increases the stretch of the atrial walls, which is basically going to cause a squeezing action and increase the firing rate of the SA node. So with more blood filling this chamber, increasing, kind of stretching those walls within here, means the SA node's firing rate will increase. So as I said, you don't need to write any notes down on that now. My next slide is going to be talking through it, what actually happens. So intrinsic control, again, intrinsic equals venous return. So venous return increases due to exercise. More blood is being delivered back to the right atrium. This means that the atrial walls stretch. When the atrial walls stretch more forcefully, it means there's going to be an increased firing rate of the SA node. If there's an increased firing rate of the SA node, what does this mean? We're going to get an increase in heart rate. So we're still focusing on heart rate. Now, next week's lesson, we're going to be looking at what happens to stroke volume with regards to exercise, but we're still currently on heart rate. So with regards to intrinsic control, this is what happens. We get an increase in venous return, which means we're getting more blood filling the right atria. The right atrial wall stretch, which means that we're going to be getting a higher firing rate of the SA node. So if you can write notes on that, appreciate that. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.